Mississippi. That spells Mississippi. And tonight on Dylan Knows, we'll be talking about Mississippi River sharks, part of our Snarkweek after shows. I'm your host, Dylan Lang. My usual show, Dylan Knows, is right now. And it's not going to be as long as my other ones. I tend to be about a 2-hour long ones usually. I will be doing probably another one probably by Friday, since I will be going on vacation next week and I will not be doing one next week. So I figure I get 2 in this week, small one and a regular size one, and then have vacation time and then get back to normal. When I get back, I should be getting back in with MJ Kahn, my co-host for the comic show, and Jerry Fletcher, my co-host for the Top 10 show, or I should say list show, because we do more than top 10s. And as I predicted, I have 0 viewers. Oh well, no one likes me. Oh well, or they didn't like Mississippi River Sharks. I don't know why, because Mississippi River Sharks was fan-freaking-tastic. And I think it was one of the more fun movies that Sci-Fi has done for their Shark Week, as we call it, Snark Week. Me and my friends, the Snark Alex, this was our second movie we've done. We did yesterday. We did Five-Headed Shark Attack, and Kelly Toole and I kicked it off with the Snark Week kickoff show. There's going to be a day of rest tomorrow, so no Snarky Shark movie tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so Sci-Fi does their Face Off TV show, which is great because my daughter likes that one. So we're getting her slowly indoctrinated into the sci-fi world. Face Off is on Tuesday, so there's no shark movie tomorrow. Wednesday, however, we get probably what may well be one of the more other fun movies that Sci-Fi is doing for their Shark Week. It is Trailer Park Sharks. You can only imagine what that's going to be like. And I think Griff First is the producer of that one, and he's a guy who is known to us, the Snark Alex, as being a very well intentioned, fun-loving shark movie maker. So Griff First's movie Trailer Park Sharks will be out on Wednesday. And the after show for that one is going to be Nurture and Support with Kelly Toole and Mel, who will be discussing in minute detail everything about Trailer Park Sharks. Thursday, I will be back doing the after show with Mr. Tony Solo, the Snooze. We will be talking about Toxic Shark, which is interesting. A shark attacks a singles mixer, like on the beach, something like that, and it's going to spew out all kinds of toxic waste. So that's going to be on Thursday. Friday, we get another breather day because that's their sci-fi block on Sci-Fi. You got Dark Matter, Winona Earp, and there's one other one I'm missing in there. But that's into that. And then Saturday is Empire of the Sharks. Kelly Toole returns with his cohort Mike Belinsky and a new episode of Squat Cobbler. We'll be doing the after show for that one. And then Sunday is the crown jewel of Sci-Fi's Sharknado Week, which is Sharknado 5. So this one is the 5th Sharknado, and as of now, we don't really have an after show. We might just get a bunch of people together and say, hey, let's talk about Sharknado, and do that. That is also the beginning of my vacation, so I may or may not be in on that. Hopefully we'll be able to watch it. Hopefully the place we're staying at will have Sci-Fi, and hopefully I'm feeling up to it after driving for 5 to 8 hours, depending on how bad it is. So we shall see. But that's the rest of this week. So tonight, we're not talking about any of those. We're talking about the Mississippi River Sharks. And I must say, I was pleasantly surprised. I think it was similar to last year's Dam Sharks, which was another fun one that you didn't really think much about. Didn't think much that it would be maybe a fun or good movie. You didn't quite know much about it. I mean, the name itself is kind of cool, Dam Sharks. You know, the pun on the word damn sharks, but it was really about sharks building a dam. No, literally, that was what it was. You know, check it out. It's probably going to be airing sometime this week. Kelly Toole just said, my new detail might be a tad strong for Carmack 9 and me. That's well, you guys do a good show over there with Nurture and Support, so who knows? We'll see. So Mississippi River Shark took me by surprise, and in all transparency, I missed about the first couple minutes. So I missed the initial attack on the New Orleans riverboat. But I got the main gist of the rest of the film. And I must say, you know, I came in right as the shark was attacking on the riverboat, and it was a cute little bull shark. He had a cute little mouth and little eyes on the side of his head, and it wasn't really frightening at all, to be honest. And to be truthful, none of the sharks really seemed to be all that scary in this one. And maybe that was done for a reason, because this movie, Mississippi River Sharks, was more of a comedy horror type of thing. So it was one of those things where you get the horror of the sharks killing people, but in comedic fashion, which is what we usually get with a lot of these shark movies here on Sci-Fi. But it had interesting characters. I think there were a lot more likable characters in this one than there were in last night's Five-Headed Shark Attack, and more ones you could cheer for. And just they seem to be having a good time doing the film. Now, with the sharks, obvious computer generated, obvious stock photography of sharks as well, mixed together with people on land. You know, got to cut the budget. And that was one of the funny things that made this film maybe not quite as scary film. As I said, it was a comedy horror, so it wasn't quite as scary. The fake body parts, come on, I mean, they're supposed to be real body parts. They looked like they were mannequins or manufactured in some fabric store or art supply store or whatever. I mean, the head itself of the old lady that was one of the first ones to die looked like it was the head of a mannequin. It was really, I mean, it was just like someone said, hey, we got some props. We got about $1,000. Let's make a movie called Mississippi River Sharks, and we'll use most of our money for computer generated effects, and we'll get Jason London and his brother Jeremy on low cost. And those are kind of names that people might remember from the 90s. So, hey, why don't we get them in there? And hey, we got ourselves a film. And that's what it seemed like to me. But you know what? I didn't care, because it was fun. It was an entertaining film. And there's types of films that, you know, you see stuff like the fake hands of Jason London's character after he gets eaten, and the fake head, and the body in the middle of the water, and then the terrible CGI, particularly when the shark jumps out of the water and bites off the arms of Possum and Big Bill, who are fighting over the prize trophy for the fish rodeo. Again, just and I think it was done intentionally. I don't think that they were taking themselves too seriously. I hope they weren't. I don't think they were, though, just from seeing what we saw. Lots of minute little pop culture little jokes here and there. They mentioned Ozark sharks. Wyatt had on the Boy Who Lives shirt at the end, which was hilarious. They had the names of all these crazy shark movies that Jason London was in, that you could actually sit there and go, damn, Sci-Fi is probably going to be writing these names down. It says, what was that one? It was the one about Santa Claus, the one about the shark with a Santa hat. It's like, yeah, that would be a good one to do. We could do Shark Week and a Christmas one all together in one ribbon. Shark with a Santa hat on. That's awesome. And then, you know, the TV show that we watched at the end of it with him on it, and you know, and the Shark Bite movies, which I guess you could technically say was kind of making fun of the Sharknado series. Though I don't think a lot of people hated the third Sharknado, even though the joke was that everybody hates the third Shark Bite movie. So they were having a little bit of fun of that. But and again, the effects were awful. The end result where the sharks get captured in the giant net, and they're all in the net with their tails just whipping around, and you're like, really? But then you're like, you know what? I don't care. It's entertaining. It's fun. And who am I to judge, right? They got their film on TV. You know, I haven't even gotten a film off the ground yet. So who am I to judge, right? But it was just that, and the blood splatter on everything. I mean, it was just so neat and pristine. You know, you see the jaw, the fin get ready to attack somebody, and you cut to like a painting, and then just someone's just off screen is like, watch this, and spews a bunch of red paint on something to make it look like blood. But there was that one, and then it was red paint on something else also. I forget what it was. And then I could have sworn I would have liked to see the red paint get splattered on the boombox. But then we learned later on that the guy survived it. The one who got attacked, he's walking across the road with a shark on his head, and he pulls it off, and it's dead, and he's all bloody. And the police officer's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yep, I'm good." And then he walks away. Stuff like that. The way the police officer, the captain, which really I'm still depressed about because I like the police captain in this one. The way he got killed was, I mean, it entirely fit the film, but getting the harpoon through the heart by accident when the guy's trying to shoot the shark and then the shark hits the boat and it shoots it up in the air and gets that was funny, but it got me right there because I like that guy. I didn't want him to die. And, having almost died, getting eaten by the shark, and then getting killed by some idiot there's some sort of underlying theme there probably. And the fact that you got the London brothers playing different roles that I don't think they interacted, or they interacted very briefly. It was just a fun film, and I just love it. Jason London was apparently having a blast playing the superstar in these type of cheesy type of movies. And in this movie world where Jason London is this huge action star, it just makes you smile because who's Jason London now? I mean, he did some stuff in the 90s, and what has he done recently? He's done a couple of these sci-fi films. We've seen them. We've seen him in a couple other ones, but it was just funny that he was just having a blast, being able to do this role and having fun with it. And that's what I love to see. I love to see when actors and actresses are having fun in the film, and you can totally see they're having fun making the film. One of the main reasons why Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool was so successful is because, yes, it's a subversive movie, but at the same time, Ryan Reynolds loves the character, goes all out to promote the film, and then is having a blast doing it. Val Kilmer, before he got all serious and fat and bloated in the late 80s and 90s, he looked like he was having a blast when he did Top Secret and Real Genius, those two movies. Just seeing an actor who appears to be having just like the greatest time in the world making a film, it sort of rubs off on you when the character is so full of life, and because the actor's enjoying doing the role, it sort of rubs off on you. It was similar with Jason London, he was having so much fun playing this role, playing this hugely different character that he's than himself. It's a alternate reality where Jason London is a huge star, and it's amazing that we're, and it made it a lot of fun. Plus, another good thing about the film was it's not a great white shark. It seems like every movie does something about a great white shark. These were bull sharks, and they had to be bull sharks because they're one of the only sharks that can survive in fresh water, and that's what the Mississippi River is. Actually, I guess technically the Mississippi River is probably more brackish, but it can survive huge portions of fresh water that the Mississippi has. And in general, it's a great idea for a film because the Mississippi River is, I know the Rio Grande is probably the biggest river in the world, but the Mississippi River is probably the biggest river, or at least one of the biggest rivers in the world as well. And the fact that, what if a shark or a group of sharks made their way up the Mississippi River and made it all the way to what, the Great Lakes? Is that where they come out of? No, that would be crazy, and just all the towns that sprouted up around the Mississippi. You learn some history or geography, you see there's a ton of these big towns that have popped up over the Mississippi, and it's a big river too. I mean, it's not just a little minuscule little dinky little river. It only goes this far. No, this is a freaking huge river, and it's big and it's deep and it's long, and it's dangerous, particularly when the water's overflowing due to heavy rains and stuff like that. But it was just it was a blast, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, it's funny at the end, having missed the beginning part, when the woman came in at the end to meet up with, to use her phone, and was talking with Wyatt, and sort of became, gave Wyatt a love interest or whatever. And then she said that she just went and killed sharks. As I said, I hadn't seen the beginning part of the film, so I didn't know who she was, and I'm sure she was connected to it in some form. So I put the question out there, and actually I got two answers. One was she was the girl from the beginning of the movie on the riverboat in New Orleans, which would make sense, and then also that she was the actress in Ozark Sharks, which came out last year. And if that's the case, then you got yourself a little bit of a, cinematic universe starting to form, with these types of sci-fi shark movies. And that got me to thinking, it's like, it'd be kind of cool if sci-fi wants to do like another big Shark Week movie. They should do one where they have all the sharks that have been in their own films team up like the Avengers. You can have Ghost Shark and Zombie Shark, and was it the Robot Shark, and Sharktopus, and the Mississippi River sharks, the five-headed shark in there as well. And any of these, there's the snow sharks and the demonic possessed sharks, but like the ghosts and zombies and the five-headed shark, have them all like team up together to take out humankind. Now that'd be really cool ass movie. You get all these different characters that you've seen in previous movies, and they combine and battle, become a force to be reckoned with in a sci-fi movie, and play it like the Avengers. Do it, set it up like that. It's because every one of these movies ends with, you think that the creature's dead, and then nope, he's still alive. There's a baby that just came out, or whatever. And the fact you get Sharktopus in there and he can be like the leader, that'd be freaking awesome. So that's my idea. So sci-fi, if you're watching the show, which I highly doubt, you can use that. I don't care. I'll probably write it. I can probably figure out a way to write that and get all these sharks together. But it'd be kind of cool. Ghosts and Zombie Shark and the Robot Shark and all those ones we've had to deal with before. So it'd be really, really good idea. In general, as I said, the film was pretty straightforward. There's a fish rodeo, a small town in Mississippi, right near the beginning of the Mississippi River, or rather where it empties out, I suppose, in the Gulf of Mexico. But it's near the beginning. It's New Orleans, and then there's Mississippi up there, and it's their annual fish rodeo. And it's a small town, and small town life is great. And the way the characters were developed, before most of them died, you could very easily have seen this as maybe a television series or a movie set in this small southern town where life is slow and you take it easy, and what life is like in the South, with it's sort of like a Doc Hollywood type of film, where you get the big city guy coming into the small town and discovers that the small town is actually better than the big town. I mean, Northern Exposure did it, back in the early 90s, but the way that they were setting it up was something that they, you could follow sort of the stream of the way things were going. I mean, the characters were, given enough of a character. You got the guy who runs the hardware store, whose daughter is very intelligent with science, but she's feeling the pressure to do really good, so she's going to drop out and take business courses so she can help run her dad's hardware store. And then you got the guy with the unrequited crush of the girl that got away from high school and is finally reconnects with her and now has a chance to meet up with her. And then you get his sidekick, who is the goofy pop culture spewing Wyatt, who also is a cock blocker extraordinaire. Cock blocked my guy Eric 3 times in the film, and obviously it was done on purpose. It's part of the joke of that. And then you get the really deep Southern, Big Billy, the big money. I got this. I got the money and all this. Hey, you got to do this. I got to do this. Yeah, I can't really. I used to do a really good Southern accent. Now I'm tired, and I had a long day, so maybe some other day I'll pull out my Southern accent. You got him in there, and then you got Possum, who's literally like a little possum, creeping along and thinking he's better than everybody, and his whole life is around the fish rodeo, and he thinks he's better than everybody. And then you get the God rest his soul, the police officer, the sheriff, who was great, and his his dispatcher saying, "We got reports of a shark attack at the marina. We keep getting reports of the shark attack," and some of the other little minor characters that came in. The dude who survived the shark attack, walked out onto the bridge with the shark on him. That would be another really interesting character. You make him mute like he is, not have him talk, have him do like hand gestures and stuff like that. No, Mel, it's Wednesday night is your movie, not tomorrow. It's Wednesday night, not tomorrow. Tomorrow you get a break, but Wednesday night you are doing nurture and support with Kelly about trailer park sharks. So yeah, tomorrow there's no movie, so you're good on that, Mel. I'll tweet you back if you didn't hear this. So you get like a nice little town, and it's kind of neat to see, maybe see another movie set in this little town with these unique characters in there, and then you get the wet behind the ears rookie reporter who happens to be attractive woman who comes into town and immediately she's got this urge to prove herself that she's the any little story can be the big story that makes her go to the big time and stuff like that. Even though it is just a dinky little fish rodeo, something could happen that could change the course of world history. That's some of the lines she used. And her cameraman's like, yeah, whatever, and then walks away. But you bring her in as sort of the love interest for the older hardware store owner, dad, who apparently has been widowed or divorced. It's hard to tell. He didn't really get into it. I would assume probably widowed. And you get that storyline going, and then it's these characters were just really interesting. Even though I saw a lot of people who didn't like Wyatt's character, I also saw a fair amount of people who really enjoyed Wyatt's character. And I personally kind of enjoyed Wyatt's character, despite the cock blocking that he does and the annoying stuff and being totally a ignoramus, helpless, whatever. But you know what? He dropped the bomb and couldn't get it into the net with the sharks, and it went in the water and it blew up. But then it was really his idea of moving the net onto the road to suffocate the sharks, and to be obsessed with a TV show, starring, of all people, Jason London, and or a movie series rather, I should say, starring Jason London, and being one of these huge fanboy things like that is a interesting character. And that's the thing; these characters were very interesting. They were, as I said, they were a little bit better developed than a lot of the characters we see in the sci-fi movies. As I said, that's why I said it seemed like you could probably do a series of movies, or not necessarily shark horror films, but just any type of Southern Living type of show, down and use these characters, and it would be interesting, Particularly, I keep coming back to the guy who survived the shark attack. That would be a really great character, and to have a possible cinematic universe with the actress from Ozark Sharks, who I guess was not technically. It wasn't her character from Ozark Sharks. Technically, it was like the one from the beginning of the film, unless she was the woman from Ozark Sharks. I don't remember Ozark Sharks, so that might have been one I missed. But I think we saw it, but I don't remember really a damn thing about it. Go figure, right? So there's just something about this film that I really enjoyed, and as I said, it was a lot of fun. They didn't take themselves too seriously. To be honest, I didn't find it that scary. And I'm sure a lot of people out there didn't either. It was more funny than scary. And yes, it was cliched, and yes, it was dumb, and the acting was lame, and the people were stupid going into the water and stuff like that. Yeah, Myrna agrees. Wyatt was a fun character to snark, like, and hate thing. Yeah, absolutely was. But he's like us, he was a pop culture guy. Who doesn't really have like the social niceties, thinks everything is real. I mean, that whole speech to Jason London about "you're a hero, go do this" is like, dude, no, he's an actor in a movie series. You need to get a life. And I actually thought that. I was like, damn, how far have I come down where, I find a guy that, is obsessed with a TV show or movie series and maybe can't distinguish between the characters. How I think that's dumb. I don't know. Have I ever done that? Sure, probably in some form or another. Wednesday that work. Yeah, I told her that. I told them, Kelly. I said we have tomorrow off. You can go back and replay this if you don't believe me. So I really, really like this film a lot, and I'm almost contemplating getting it on the DVR, maybe showing it to my son, because a funny story about this, and I'll probably wrap up the show. Last year, my wife thought it'd be, hey, you know what? These movies are pretty bad, and they're not real, and everything looks fake and stuff like that. Maybe the kids would come down and enjoy watching it with us. So I don't remember where I was. I was doing something, but I wasn't involved right away with this one. It was a three-headed shark attack, and my wife was like, "Yeah, maybe this would be something that Noah would enjoy." So they sat down, and as soon as the three-headed shark attacked somebody and tore him apart, my son was like, "Oh no, I'm done," and he was scared for a little while. Yeah, he was 7. No, actually, he was 6 when it came out. He was 6. And he was sad. It scarred him for life. So yesterday, when he was going to come down and say goodnight to me, he wanted to make sure that the movie was on commercial. So I told him it was. He came in and he gave me a goodnight hug and kiss. But it was funny. But I think this one, I'm sure my daughter probably would like this, but I think this one, it still might freak him out a little bit. But to be honest, I wasn't shocked by it. It wasn't. Was it proper? Truthfully gory. Like in a lot of these movies, the special effects are so good that you see the blood splatter is more realistic, and the guts exploding and the arms getting shredded, and the actual anguish and the pain of people who are getting eaten by these sharks. You see that. But in this film, it was extraordinarily goofy, sort of along the lines of the Sharktopus movies. It was extraordinarily goofy with where the deaths happened. The second death after the old lady with the guy in the water and the shark jumping through his chest, that was freaking hilarious. And I thought that was a very unique way to die. And then again, they pulled out the people yelling at him to swim faster, as if they're going to be able to outrun a shark in the water. And yet he does. Again, this is the second time in 2 movies where people are yelling for him to swim faster because the shark is coming, and they survive, with the exception of, the poor sheriff got his boot taken by the shark. But, it's just, but it was a fun film, and it wasn't overtly gory. Yes, there's lots of little blood splatter, but the CGI is so fake and so awful. And as I said, it looked literally like someone said, all right, we got $1,000 here. This is what we're going to do to make this film. We'll use the majority of it for special effects, and we'll make some, prop pieces with arms and legs and heads and stuff like that, and we'll make a great movie. And you know what? He wasn't wrong. It was a fun movie. I highly recommend the Mississippi River Sharks. They're rerunning all of them probably this week. So if you haven't seen Mississippi River Sharks, or you want to go back in and see it again, definitely check it out. I'm really considering putting it on the DVR and seeing if my kid might be able to handle this one, because I think of all of them, this one is probably the one. Though, Griff First ones are pretty silly as well. Which reminds me, Kelly and Mel, you will be doing the after show on Wednesday. We got that cleared up on Twitter now, for Trailer Park Sharks. So, I think, as I told Kelly yesterday, before seeing this film, I thought that was going to be like the jewel of this week's shark films, Trailer Park Shark, because who doesn't love trailer parks or trailer park cliches, and sharks in the trailer park particularly? You're going to love it. It's going to be almost like Daryl Dixon taking out sharks in a trailer park with Merle. How about that? That'd be a freaking great movie as well. Before Walking Dead, Daryl and Merle were involved with Trailer Park Sharks. Dun, dun, dun. That'd be freaking sweet. But we'll see. Wednesday we'll find out for sure what Griff First has up his sleeves for Trailer Park Sharks, and then we'll see what Kelly and Mel thought about that afterwards. Toxic Shark on Thursday might be interesting. Just the premise of a singles mixer is always, you're going to probably get the cliched weird dates and stuff like that. But the fact that the shark spews toxic waste and it hits people is kind of a innuendo-esque, if you prefer. And Empire of the Sharks, to me, sounds like a sequel to the one that was last year that Tony Soul absolutely detested, like Shark World or War of the Sharks or something like that. It's the same premise, the oceans have risen and the sharks have taken over. So sounds like it's a sequel. And then, of course, you know what you get with Sharknado. At this point, Sharknado 5, you seem to be running on fumes a little bit, but it seems like you're throwing in some little curveballs, a little bit of time travel, a little bit of historical significance, and a worldwide view of the Sharknado event. So we'll see what happens. But if you missed this and you're watching this show now, or you might have been paying too much attention to your tweeting, just sit down, maybe record Mississippi River Sharks again and rewatch it. I found it extraordinarily fun, and I enjoyed it immensely, and I hope you guys did too. So that's it for the after show of Mississippi River Sharks. I was your host, Dylan Lang. This was my show, Dylan Knows. I am considering this a canon episode of Dylan Knows, so this is episode 202. I will be doing a more full-length episode on probably Friday, since I'll be getting ready for the beach on Saturday. Plus, we do have a shark movie on Saturday, and Friday there is no shark movie. So I've got some interesting stuff, already for this week. Last week was a struggle trying to find stuff to talk about. This week I got some stuff to talk about. It's only Monday, so we'll see what happens. Thank you all for watching. Keep watching Snarkweek. It's fun. We're finally getting a chance to go back and get our snarking. We're starting to get into a rhythm, into a groove now. So let's carry that over into Wednesday for Trailer Park Sharks. And tune in after the show on Wednesday, after the movie on Wednesday, for a special episode of Nurture and Support with Kelly and Mel, who will break down the Trailer Park Shark saga. And hopefully it'll be a good one. Mississippi River Sharks, 2 thumbs up. Have a good night.